and help you help smooth your landing at Columbia a little bit, and just smooth your time over the course of your time at Columbia as you start to think about life after Columbia. And it might be kind of strange to be thinking about career and professional development when you haven't even started graduate school yet. But it's actually great that you all are here and starting to think about this early, because the best thing you can do to prepare yourself for wherever you plan to go or think you might go, or if you're still exploring, to kind of prepare yourself for that exploration, is to start from the beginning and always have that in mind. And of course, your plans will change, but Columbia and we here in GSAS Compass are here to help you and help support you through that. So there's already a question in the chat about recording, and yes, we aren't recording just yet. We'll start the recording in a minute, but yes. Oh, okay.
I started, sorry.
Great, no worries. So yes, you will. So actually all incoming students will receive a link to the recording. So you'll definitely get that, and there will be other opportunities too. We're going to be visiting many different programs in the first couple of weeks at your orientations, and you'll have access to an orientation video that has lots of different videos from different offices around campus, and you'll have another chance to learn about us there. So you'll have many, many opportunities to learn about us and our services. And as we get started here too, if you wouldn't mind all writing into the chat box what program you're entering at Columbia, and also where you're coming from geographically. So maybe where you're sitting right now. So what program or what department are you going to be coming to, and where are you sitting right now? And just you all can kind of keep an eye on the chat to see maybe there's some future classmates here, and just kind of see the broad diversity of folks you're going to be in school with over the next 1 to 7 years, depending on the program. Wow. Great. We are GSAS Compass, which is the Office of Graduate Career Development for the entire Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. So we serve students in, I believe it's 78 different master's and PhD programs. And we'll tell you about how we do that in a minute. So first, I just wanted to read to you our mission, because I think it really helps you understand our approach to career development. So GSAS Compass helps doctoral and master's students to identify, work toward, and achieve their post-graduation career goals. We're committed to creating an inclusive culture that fosters exploration, nurtures diverse interests, and assists in preparing GSAS students for a range of careers that are well suited to their individual skills, interests, values, and personalities. Above all, we empower students to harness their academic training in any career path they pursue. So that really informs all of the work that we do here. As I mentioned, we serve nearly 80 different programs, so we are generalists. GSAS is really diverse in terms of disciplines, in terms of the kinds of careers that folks want to end up in after graduate school and the kind of exploration and skill building they're looking to do in graduate school. And so our approach is to really teach skills, help students think creatively about what you might want to do after graduate school. And we do that in a variety of different ways. I'd also like to introduce myself and my colleagues. So my name is Rachel Bernard, and I am the Director of Graduate Career Development for GSAS. And also here are my colleagues, Francesca Finelli and Rachel Fogel.
Hi, my name is Francesca Finelli. I'm Associate Director of Graduate Career Development, and I kind of head our advising and programming departments. So nice to have so many of you here today from so many different locations. And I'll pass it off to Rachel Fogel.
Thank you, Francesca. My name is Rachel Fogel, and like you, I am rather new to GSAS. Today is day 4, and I'm excited to be here with you. You're my first event, so thank you for being here. My title is Assistant Director of Graduate Career Development, and I focus on employer relations, so making sure that GSAS creates and retains strong relationships with the places that you're hoping to go after you finish your time with GSAS. Turn it back over to Rachel. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, as she's dropped the link to our website in the chat a few times, so you can find us online there, and also in 106 Low Library when you come to campus, which is where the rest of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences offices are. And just so you all know too, if you're thinking about what is the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, Columbia University is comprised of, I think it's 17 different schools, many of which are different graduate schools. So whatever program you were admitted to, the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences is the school that houses that program. So now I will turn it over to Francesca, who's going to go into a bit more detail about our services.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So we have a real range of services that we offer to you, starting with workshops that we hold both in person and virtually. Or this year, we're hoping to hold some in person. And when I mean in person, I guess sometimes that's a live Zoom, or it can be where we do have a couple of spaces where we're exploring to hold in-person events as well. And so these workshops range really from something called PhD Pathways, which goes over alumni career conversations, really focusing on PhD alumni who pursue careers in a variety of very diverse fields, and they talk about their experience of transitioning from graduate school into the workforce, and as well as career exploration resources. We also have a series called MA Academic and Professional Development, where we have certain topics such as interest, how to pursue a PhD and apply for a PhD program, how to start your thesis and think about a thesis project. So we do have specific programming for both master's and PhD students, while we're also looking into and starting the process of creating an online module for our workshop series called Job Search 360. So the whole circle of the job search, taking you from the beginning portion of what's your strategy to networking, interviewing, creating a strong resume and cover letter, and to kind of starting your job. This you can actually find on Courseworks, where you will be actually finding all of your classes as well. We're still in the process of completing this, so you won't see it quite yet. This is our last project of the summer, but something that we're really excited to present to students, because you can do this on your own time, watch these videos at any time, fast forward through them, rewatch them. And so it's a opportunity for you to kind of learn at your own pace and then come and chat with us during office hours as well. We also have alumni and peer networking events. Most of these have been virtual, which allows us to bring alumni from across both the United States as well as globally to chat with students in either small breakout rooms or in panel discussions. This is something that we work with our Office of Alumni Relations to put together. So at the end of the presentation, I'll talk about our newsletter. Keep an eye on that, because that's where you're going to find out about these networking events. We also have employer showcases where we host an employer to come to campus. So again, this year we're starting to explore some in-person options as well as virtual, where an employer will come and speak about their organization, talk about projects they've done. Sometimes they might have an HR manager there, as well as someone who's part of the organization kind of actively doing the work. And they just discuss the projects they've done, kind of office culture, and then often open it up for questions from Q&A, and then have breakout rooms for networking. This is a great way to learn about an employer as well as make employer connections. We also hold career expos. Last year we held a multi-school career expo with a few other graduate schools, which really allowed us to bring a greater number of employers. We're exploring this possibility again for the upcoming year. So again, keep an eye on your inbox because that will, you'll be getting all the upcoming information about all of these events. And then finally, for a very personal touch, if you have specific questions about your career development, questions about getting a resume or a cover letter reviewed, doing a mock interview, we have one-on-one advising with GSAS Compass staff. In these, they're usually anywhere from 15 to 30 to 45 minutes. And as I mentioned, it covers a range of topics from resume and cover letter review, using LinkedIn, going over your LinkedIn profile, just general career. We have a lot of meetings with career exploration meetings where you can just come in and say, I'm not sure what to do with my career and I don't know the next steps. And we can help create some action items for you, as well as I mentioned mock interviews and talking about networking as well as negotiations or any other career questions you might have. And then finally, we're very happy to present to you GSAS Compass portal, which has a wealth of resources, both with the entire job search process. We have a resource library, which I will be showing you in a moment, that is chock-a-block filled with really good hand-picked resources for you. If you Google a resume template online, you're going to get a ton of results, and a lot of them are bad. I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of very bad templates out there. So we've found resources for you that we like and trust, and we've put them in this resource library. As well, there's also a job and internship database. This is something that's growing. It should be one thing that you're using in your job search, but it is a good place to start, particularly for on-campus jobs, which we're trying to build up that database. Rachel will talk more about that in just a moment. But I wanted to go ahead and actually show you this platform, which you will be gaining access to once you've, by September 2nd, which I'm gonna have a slide about that, but I thought I'd mention that again. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Let me make sure I have the right window open. And I'm gonna just go to the home page. Excellent. All right, I'll share my screen now. Yes. And this is the one I wanna share. Okay, so this is what GSAS Compass portal looks like. So you'll have this welcome screen up across the top. So there's a couple of different ways for searching for internships or jobs. These featured ones right here that kind of come up according to you. Once you complete your profile, you can choose the types of jobs or the types of employers you're looking for, and then the system will learn your preferences and provide you with a couple of different options. Or you can go ahead into this database here, and there's ways to filter for, as I mentioned, position type, on campus. We do actually receive quite a lot of people just needing research assistance. And so once you gain access to the libraries, you could go ahead and some people just need part-time graduate assistance. These are all things that are kind of paid, often in cash or via Venmo or things like that. So these are great options. So you can search for those types of positions, as well as full-time and part-time, as well as you can search and look and see our upcoming events, as well as learn about our database of employers that have posted with us or interacted with us in the past, as well as we have an excellent resource library. We're, as I mentioned, filled with those resources to kind of help you with your process. So we suggest starting here with this document, start here, just learning about your career journey, from career exploration to job searching tips for uncertain times, which we are most certainly in, how to find a job on campus, resume, cover letter tips, so on and so forth. So go ahead, take a look at some of these articles where you can get some basic information, as well as be referred out to many other helpful resources, as I mentioned, that are very trusted, that we use all the time in our appointments with students. So please do, once you log in, check this out. You're going to find so much there. And then if you want to schedule a one-on-one appointment, go to a workshop, you'll have some prior knowledge already, and it'll just make those either one-on-one interactions or group interactions that more fulfilling. So please do go ahead and take a look at this, as well as here's where you can schedule those career advising appointments. We ask that you limit your appointments to 3 per semester. Most people don't need more than 3. So that's why we limit it with at least 2 weeks in between those appointments, because we're a small staff serving a very large student population, as well as graduates. We serve you up to 3 years after you graduate from GSAS, because we know some of this work doesn't start until after you graduate. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. Thanks, Rachel. And as I mentioned, your access begins September 2nd. Please don't register now because we're just not going to approve you. So by September 2nd, you will receive an email saying, welcome to GSAS Compass, check it out. So until then, it's just something that we have to wait for a period of time, but we're excited to provide access to you.
Thank you, Francesca. Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, please bear with us. September 2nd is a Friday, and we're going to do our absolute best to get all of you imported into the system. It's just a behind the scenes process. So you will know for sure that you have access when you get that email from us. Will say, welcome to GSAS Compass. And then you will log in simply with your uni, which is the alphanumeric code that's you're going to need. You'll be asked for your uni all the time at Columbia and the password that you create. So that's how you'll get into that system, and you'll have full access to everything that Francesca just showed you in a few weeks. Okay, next, this was a frequently asked question during prior information sessions, which is how to find an on-campus job to help sustain your life here in New York City as a graduate student at Columbia. It can be expensive. So a lot of students are interested in finding work on campus. And also for international students, you are eligible to work on campus up to 20 hours a week if you're here on an F1 visa. So it's an opportunity that's available to everyone. And we just wanted to let you know now a few resources for how to do that, because there are a few. So first, if you are a domestic student who has been awarded financial aid in the form of federal work study, there is a specific portal and website that is about federal work study. And so Francesca just dropped a link into the chat for that. So again, that's if you're a domestic student who has qualified for this particular type of financial aid, there are already positions in there. So you can go ahead, you can log in right now and start seeing those work study opportunities. So that's one option. Also, once you do get access to the GSAS Compass portal on September 2nd, if you narrow your search in that portal for on-campus opportunities, you'll see everything in that portal that's on campus, and it's not exhaustive. And that's kind of the point here, is that there is no one way to find on-campus jobs. It takes a little bit of research and creativity. So we don't have everything, but we have some opportunities. So you should search there. Next, short-term casual positions across Columbia can be found on, it's actually the main job board at Columbia. So even, if you were looking for a full-time opportunity, it's all in the same portal. So Francesca just dropped that link into the chat, which is opportunities.columbia.edu. And again, if you narrow your search there to short-term casual positions, it's one of the filters you can use. Then again, you'll see some of these part-time, short-term positions on campus for the offices that choose to post there. Next, some students are interested in working in the libraries, and for that, go straight to the library's website. Francesca just put a link in the chat, and you'll see the application process there for being considered for part-time positions at the library. Next, so again, that's everything with the exception of the second bullet are things you can do now already. The next thing is to contact your department or program directly. And so this would probably be, usually the best point of contact to start with is an administrator. So if you've been in contact with a department administrator already, or basically whoever from your program that you are going to be starting has been emailing you, to send them a quick email and just say, hi, I'm very excited to be starting in a few weeks. Might you know of any part-time opportunities or research assistantships with faculty in the department? So that's an email, again, that you can send today if that's something that you're interested in. And then finally, this is something to not forget, is which is sort of a more passive way, is to just watch your inbox. And some of you may have even gotten these emails already from your program saying that, a professor is looking for a research assistant, or you may have gotten something. So even if you already want to start checking your Lion mail, your Columbia email, as well as the personal email that you use to apply, just watch out for these opportunities and read the emails that you'll be getting from our office, from your department, from the graduate school, because especially at the beginning of the year, there are lots of people and offices on campus that are looking for work for graduate student or student workers to help them. So these are all of the different ways to find different kinds of positions, part-time positions on campus while you're here.
I need to unmute myself. Okay, so this brings us now, as I mentioned, to our bulletin. This is a very short email just with a quick highlight, and it hits your inbox every Tuesday. We try and send it in the morning on Tuesday. So we just want to get you into the rhythm that this is every Tuesday, this email will be coming into your inbox, which features, so make sure you read it to learn about upcoming events. We feature specific jobs we think are really great for students, as well as any upcoming employer visits. Again, it's just something you can quickly scroll through, and then most of it takes you back into the GSAS Compass portal, where you'll be able to register on the portal or register through maybe another Zoom link or something, but it's kind of your hub. So sometimes we even feature opportunities that's not hosted by GSAS Compass, but other schools. So you might have to register someplace else. But this is how you're going to find out about all of our resources. Of course, you can always check the portal, but this is a great, for those of you who are here, I'm sure you'll be reading it. Tell your friends to read it. This is where all the information you need about our office will live. So please do expect that every Tuesday.
Okay, so that's the end of our presentation, and we wanted to leave plenty of time at the end to answer your questions. So you can, I'm actually gonna in a second stop sharing my screen, and you can type questions into the chat. We're going to continue recording just so that, because you all probably have some fantastic questions and we want to make those answers available to everyone. So we will continue recording, but you can feel free also just to raise your hand and we'll call on you to unmute.
Yes, and please do keep in mind that we cannot answer questions related to coursework or visa status. Questions about coursework should be directed to your MA program directors for incoming master's students and directors of graduate study for incoming PhD students. All visa questions should go to the International Students and Scholars Office. So just keep that in mind that we cannot answer those questions right now. All right, so yes, feel free to type your questions into the chat. You can raise your hand. Okay, so we have a question from Devin. For those of us looking to find a quality internship next summer, what steps should we take now to make that happen? Great question. So yeah, okay. It's like, I mean, there are many steps. I think that the first thing you should probably do is start thinking about a resume and kind of getting that up to date. So put Columbia on your resume, and then start looking at organizations that you're interested in. So recruitment process starts really early for consulting and financial corporations, so or companies. So and a lot of the times it's starting early and earlier. So to be aware of these opportunities, it's really up to you to be checking those websites. If we have an employer event coming up with a specific company, we'll tell you about that. But it is really, I'd say, go to those websites, go to the companies you really want to work for, look at their internship programs and start to prepare that way. Yeah, Rachel, Bernard, do you have any other?
Yeah, and I think it depends as Francesca said, what industry you're interested in. So I know some of you, again, if you are looking for an internship in, like if you're in the statistics program or mathematics of finance, or you're hoping to get, again, like in finance and consulting, then now is the time to actually, as you're coming into graduate school, to be also looking at summer internships. But for pretty much every other industry, it happens later. If you're interested in data science, if you're interested in interning for a nonprofit or a government agency, or pretty much anything aside from those other two industries, you don't need to be applying yet. And instead it's like Francesca said, start with small things like adding Columbia to your resume. And once you log in to the GSAS Compass portal and look in the resource library, we have two really useful documents, timelines. One is for master's students and one is for PhD students. And so look at those timelines just to kind of in general think about planning over your time in graduate school, the kinds of experience, the kind of professional experience you want to gain, and when it makes sense to start applying for and seeking out those opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. Next question we have is, will we have the one-on-one interview guidance? How do we get help for preparing for job interviews? My suggestion would be start with the resource library, read about the resources of how to conduct a successful interview. And then once you're feeling like you're ready to maybe talk with someone about it or even have a mock interview, then go ahead and schedule a one-on-one mock interview appointment. Those appointments are 30 minutes long, and often we'll practice, we'll ask you interview questions, you give your responses, and we'll give you feedback. So yes, we do provide that resource.
And another interviewing resource we have too is a couple times a semester we'll run a workshop called peer-to-peer mock interviewing, and that's where it's one of our favorite workshops actually, where we have a short presentation about interviewing at the beginning, and then we group students in groups of 3, and you practice with your peers, and you take turns being the role, occupying the role of interviewer, interviewee, and observer who gives feedback. So it's another great opportunity to practice interviewing and have a little bit of fun with it too. And I was keeping an eye on the chat, so I'll take the next question. Does GSAS Compass have jobs in other cities like LA or Chicago, or do you recommend other job searching sites? We always recommend other job searching sites. So the GSAS Compass portal is one of among many, many, many places you should be looking for jobs and internships. The portal, it's small and tailored. So it's one source, but really everyone should be looking in many different places. Where those places are depends a bit on the industries you're talking about. The portal does have some jobs. It's not only in New York, it has jobs in other US locations, fewer international opportunities. But yeah, everyone should be searching in many different locations for jobs and internships.
Do we sign up for the Compass Bulletin, or will it automatically be delivered to our email inbox? It will automatically be delivered, so you don't have to sign up for it. And make sure that you do opt into our emails as well so that you receive it. But as long as you log into your system, if you don't log in, you won't get the, I think it's less likely that you'll get the bulletin. So make sure that you log in and check out the portal, and then you'll start receiving it. The next question is, thank you for the webinar. I was wondering when we would get access to Handshake. Handshake is for those of you who are not familiar, it's another kind of job hub that is at Columbia. It is only for undergraduate students. So only undergraduate students have access to Handshake. Most of the opportunities listed in Handshake are only for our feature kind of are tailored to undergraduate students. So we have a GSAS Compass, which you have access to, which is more tailored to graduate level students. So you will not get access to Handshake. All right, I think Rachel might have had to take that phone call, so I'm going to keep on going. For those having an one-year MA program and looking for PhD opportunities at Columbia next academic year, how do we prepare ourselves for that in just 3 to 4 months? So, I mean, I think that, again, Rachel mentioned this timeline that we have in the resource library for MA students. I would take a look at that timeline. I say that this is more of also an academic question and something that you should be discussing with your department. They are the experts on this topic. However, I do think it's good for you to start doing research and to think about programs and to see what the requirements are. Are they asking for, you know, a writing sample, things like that. So again, doing some internet research, learning about the requirements for the application, and then maybe starting to create a plan for yourself to think about how can I get this done in that amount of time. So yes, happy to, you could schedule an appointment and we can, you know, discuss a timeline for you. But in terms of the mechanics of it, I think it's really important to go to your department.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing I would say, sorry about that interruption. The other thing I would say about this too is if you're in a one-year MA program and hoping to go straight into a PhD afterward, developing relationships with faculty who can write you letters of recommendation is really critical. And so that's something you want to be thinking about from day one, and maybe even letting your faculty know that that's your intention from the beginning, so that you can really develop those relationships quickly. And, you know, some students come in with that plan and decide to delay for whatever reason. So just kind of being open-minded about that too, and what other options might be, because sometimes it is a little bit easier to put in those PhD applications after you've had a little bit more time to build relationships with faculty and maybe write a master's thesis or, you know, produce, you know, some kind of research paper as a master's student. So just things to keep in mind. And also, as Francesca mentioned before, when she was talking about our programming, one series that we do is the MA Academic and Professional Development series. And we always do a workshop toward the beginning of the year. It's usually in like early October about applying to PhD programs. That's also a good overview of that. But the bottom line, I think Francesca's advice to be in touch with your department is like the number one thing that's important if that's your situation. Any other questions? Okay, well, we can stick around for a little bit, but just wanted to close by talking about, you still have a few more weeks before you start graduate school. And many of you, you're probably getting emails, starting to figure out what classes you might take, maybe orchestrating a move to New York City. So just a few things for you to do in the coming weeks. Obviously, figuring out the logistics of your arrival and housing is super important. Familiarizing yourself with all of the resources at Columbia. So you're getting emails from GSAS, from your department or program, from us, and just really trying to stay on top of all of that and pay attention to all of those communications, because we here in the graduate school are really trying to help you land softly when you start graduate school at Columbia. So just paying attention to all of that, becoming aware of any particular resources you might need if you're an international student, ISSO, International Students and Scholars Office, if you're a student with a disability, if you're a student looking for particular affinity groups, if you have particular, you know, if you love ballroom dancing and you want to join, figure out how to do that here at Columbia. These are great things to start researching now, so that when you start, you can put some of those things in place to really start building your community here as a graduate student at Columbia too. Be in touch with your department with any questions you have about your academic program or choosing classes or kind of the degree requirements. And finally, it is important to rest if possible, maybe go on a little vacation, spend time with friends and family, because you'll be busy once you get here and once you start graduate school. So really, really important to kind of store up those reserves in these last weeks of summer before you begin. So thank you all. Oh, okay. And now we have a few more questions have come in. So Francesca did put in our email address, which is great. And I think these two questions that are in the chat are actually a bit outside of our purview. They sort of fall under the questions about, so the question about Social Security number is a question for ISSO, for the International Students and Scholars Office, and just the particularities about the requirements for working on campus. I will say, so I dropped the link to ISSO's website in the chat. And again, ISSO stands for International Students and Scholars Office. And I'll just put it in one more time. It's one of the most informative websites at Columbia University, in my opinion. It answers almost every question you'll have. And in addition, the question about CPT, that's another question for first look at ISSO's website to understand the work requirements and limitations for your visa status. And then CPT is a question for your department or program, because that's managed at the department or program level and not through our office. And then the other question about information about the exact dates when course registration begins, yeah, that's not our purview in career development. That would be a question for your program. So again, the person who's been emailing you from the program you've been admitted to. There's another question now. Is there an alumni network website we can use before September 2nd? Probably.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the alumni.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of when they would get access to that, but
yeah, I mean, as long as they have a uni, they should be able to log into this. So I'm just going to drop it into the chat. It's called the Columbia Alumni Community, and you can log in as a student and see a database of graduates from, I believe, just the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. And when you graduate, you can see the entire school. That's from my understanding. So I just dropped that in online. See if you can log in and gain access to it, because I believe it just requires your uni and your password. So if you have that set up.
And the other thing you can do right now too is join on LinkedIn. There's a GSAS LinkedIn group. And yeah, that'd be great if you could. So these are kind of other ways to join the Columbia Alumni Network now, is to join these. So first the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences LinkedIn group, and then again, depending on your program, some individual programs have their own LinkedIn groups too. So this would be something to just search LinkedIn for. And again, when we're talking about, there was the question about positioning yourself already. We talked about updating your resume, but also update your LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn profile, to reflect the fact that you're going to be starting graduate school here at Columbia. And then especially if you start joining these groups, then you'll be admitted to them, because we'll see that you're a graduate student here. So again, you can join the Columbia GSAS LinkedIn group and then search for if your particular department or program has a LinkedIn group. That's another great thing to do. And even just the general Columbia University alumni group too. So those are other ways to really start joining that virtual network when now you can do that when we finish today. And Francesca just put the link in the chat. Thank you. So now we have a question. When will the career fair take place? So we don't plan to host a large, like one single large career fair this fall. In fact, many colleges and universities and employers were starting to move away from that big career fair model in the last few years. And I think the pandemic really accelerated that move away from that model. Some of you, maybe your undergraduate institution, again, like pre-pandemic, maybe there was you went to a big career fair that was in a huge, multi-purpose space with, tables and tables of employers that had booths, and you'd give your resume. All of the industries are kind of moving away from that. During the pandemic, we saw many large virtual career fairs. And again, this was something that we did one last fall. And from the user experience of both students and employers, everyone felt, and all of the feedback that we got is that something that's more kind of tailored and a sort of, so what Francesca was describing, like with the employer information sessions and showcases, that where you have a chance to really talk, hear much more information about a particular employer that you're interested in, and then even connect with, whether it's in like a virtual breakout room or with a short coffee chat in person, that those are just much more rewarding and make more of an impact for both students and employers. So that's the model that many career centers are going to, and we're going along with that movement too. So what you will see during the year are opportunities, when Francesca was talking about all of our services, opportunities to attend career expos. And these are some of them we will be hosting jointly with other graduate schools at Columbia. Also in the spring, there is a big virtual graduate career expo that's a collaboration among, usually it's like 30 some different graduate schools that are members of an organization called the Graduate Career Consortium, and that's just for master's and PhD students. And then we'll also advertise other opportunities that are more industry specific and open to everyone. And so that's kind of the model too, that during the pandemic, rather than companies like always necessarily coming to visit like a particular school, once it's virtual, you can open these events up to more people at different campuses. And so increasingly, we're also seeing employers are just advertising, hey, we're not gonna do, come to a career fair, but we're going to be hosting this big information session that's open more broadly, and we advertise those opportunities. And so you'll find, again, all of this will be in the GSAS Compass portal once the academic year starts and we start to get more of these events on our calendar. That's the best way to stay on top of all of those upcoming opportunities to connect with employers. Okay. Well, any closing thoughts from other Compass staff, or shall we say, see you on campus? And again, feel free to email with questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll drop that into the chat one more time.
Thanks, Francesca. Okay, so yeah, you have our email address. You can find us, find our website, and look a little more into our services to remind yourselves of what we do. But thank you all so much for joining today.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. We'll also there's going to be a resource fair on August 31st, and you can find us there. So you can see us in person, real live people, maybe pick up a pen or a little pad of paper as a takeaway from our office. And that's in just a few weeks. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.